I got home from my school Friday evening, and this was looking like it would be a boring old weekend. My friends didn't have any plans to do anything, so I stayed home for the night. My dad mentioned that tomorrow he was going to take my sister with him to her volleyball tournament, which was a couple of towns away. He figured that I could go with them because I had no plans. At first, I really didn't want to go, but at this pace, the weekend was gonna be crap anyway with nothing to do, but at least he presented something that I could do. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to wake up that early in the morning on a Saturday and then be out of town all day and risk losing possible plans with my friends. Once it got to about midnight, I decided that I was not going to go. I wanted to wake up tomorrow with some sort of sleep as well as play video games all weekend. I went to bed shortly after that and I hoped to dream about video games and sleeping in. But my wish was not granted. The dreams that I had were interrupted by my dad. He ran into my room and said, "Are you coming?" It was 6 a.m. on a Saturday and I had no intentions of getting up, but that man's voice had me wide awake. With me being awake and not really feeling like I could fall back asleep, I said YOLO and went with them to my sister's volleyball tournament. Now, saying YOLO was like cool back in the day, so don't laugh at me. We got in the car and began our long trip to a town that was really far away. We arrived at around, 10 a.m., I guess you could say, and my sister was playing volleyball at 11. Once it got to 12, it was in between games, and my dad and I went to go eat some lunch. Now, being the kid that I was, I wanted to go eat McDonald's. Yummy. Everybody loved McDonald's when they were a kid. Once we got there, we ordered our food and everything was fine. I ate my food and then somehow I just realized that they had a huge play place in this thing. I wanted to go play in there so badly. It was huge and I saw some kids that looked like my age in there. I asked my dad if we could go in there for a little bit and he said it was fine. So I ran into the play place and my dad sat down. There was one other family in there, and it was a mom with a baby boy as well as her older child. He looked to be around 10 years old. I got into the play place and I was the only kid in there. The other kids were sitting down eating, and I knew they wanted to come up and join me so badly. I was in a weird part of the play place. There was a box, and on the sides there were 2 slides going down on my left and right. In the middle, there was a slide coming down to the box. So that middle slide is where I came from. I slid down there, and then I somehow just landed in this little box, and I didn't know which side to go down. The box I was in had no windows or cracks or anything. Nothing that I could even see out of. All of a sudden, I got scared. I heard someone on top of me. Pretty quickly, I heard the footsteps come closer to the slide that I just slid down. And I figured it was the younger kid that I saw earlier and that he wanted to find me and play around in the play place with me. But by the time the person's footsteps reached the slide, it seemed to be the kid's brother or something. Now, if you've ever seen me in real life or just seen a picture of me, you know my nose is bigger than most people's, but it's not that big in my opinion. So this kid slid down the slide and plopped into this small little box with me. We were looking at each other and I was like, is this kid okay? What does he want? Why is he staring at me? He looked at me for a long time and then he said, "You have a big nose," and then looked at me. This kid looked like the typical bully from every single movie that you've seen. He was just big and chubby. I didn't know what to do because we were in the smallest place you could think of in a McDonald's play place. So I decided it would be best for me to punch him right in the eye. I don't know why I did this, because looking at it now, I shouldn't have cared as much. But I punched him as hard as I could in the eyeball. Right after that, he started screaming and crying. And for a kid that looked older than me, I would not have expected him to cry. I thought he was going to do something back to me. Remember, we were in the smallest cube ever, and I had just socked a kid right in his eyeball. He didn't know what to do. He was looking at me crying, so he proceeded to slide down the slide while still screaming and crying. Now, both of these slides led right down to the start of the play place, and when we both got off our respected slides, he looked at me and then ran down to his mom. Me and him ran out of the play place like at the same time, and my dad, for some reason, was in the regular part of the restaurant and not in the play place. Right when I got to him, I told him I was ready to go and we needed to go now because I really didn't want to be late to see my sister play volleyball. That was a lie because I just didn't want to get caught for punching a kid in the play place. We got to the car and nothing happened. I didn't see the kid and they just stayed inside, I guess. And my dad never found out until I ended up telling him eventually. And he didn't care. He just said he was happy that I never got caught.